Hello again, and this is Marky Mark. This is, let's see. Yeah, so I've not shot any videos since Reign of the Warlock came out for any high level characters. So I guess this will be the first. So as far as characters I converted an 89 Cold Sorceress and an 87 Frost Maiden, Freezing Arrow, Amazon. All these other ones I've not converted yet for whatever reason. And yeah, and then I guess the next highest character I converted was a level 50 Javelin Amazon. And then here's the level 33 Warlock that I've been slowly leveling up. And then everything else is, kind of low level. But anyways, this is a Frost Maiden video. Go straight into Hell difficulty. So this character was actually started during a ladder season last year, I guess in the spring. And there's a couple of videos that I have on my YouTube page of that character. I don't know if I actually got around to shooting all the videos of her clearing hell mode. I'd have to go back and look to see how far she got. But I guess I should start by talking about the scope of the video. Because, maybe this video is not relevant to you. So yeah, if you are, an experienced gamer, you don't need lots of beginner tips, probably, maybe some. If you have a level 87 character, maybe you're coming over from, Resurrected into Reign of the Warlock, and you have some high level characters. Maybe you just already leveled up a character to like 85 or 87. Hard to tell what your specific scenario could be. But I guess for the sake of argument, we're going to call this a semi-budget character. So I will say that, once you get to hell mode, get some trade fodder, maybe trade for some stuff. I will say that as far as runes go, we got a Tur rune there. Highest rune there is a Ko rune. Did put an rune in the headpiece. And the highest rune on the mercenary is a Lem rune. Yeah, so the rune situation I feel like is pretty budget. We do have like a kind of low torch. I guess depending on your situation, getting one of these could be a little bit more difficult. And also the Analyst small charm. But once you clear the game in hell mode, get to around 85, I feel like, at some point you should be trying to get a torch and an Annie. And I guess the question mark is the Sunder Charm if you need one. So yeah, you can't get basic Sunder Charms in Reign of the Warlock from what I understand. You have to get the super fancy, really hard to get ones now. I don't think you can get the ones from Resurrected that were a lot easier to get. So I did transfer this one. I know that you can possibly find people that transferred their characters over that just had a bunch of Sunder Charms sitting around that they decided to save. Maybe try to trade for one off them. But we are a Freezing Arrow Amazon. And for my bow skills, I did all the freezing skills, nothing else. But I guess the other option is maybe to have an alternate bow on swap and maybe do some points into the fire arrow tree, or maybe even the physical section in the middle. Yeah, you could just have backup options. You could also go for the full Mavina set, which I kind of have most of it sitting here. I got the gauntlets, the diadem, which is kind of hard to get, the bow, which is kind of hard to get, and the belt down here. I don't have the armor. It's not too hard to trade for this full set, so that would be one option. But I will say that if you're using the Mavina set, and even if you do have a Sunder Charm, Sunder Charm sets the monster's resistance to 95% when it breaks the immunity. So your cold damage still isn't going to do a whole lot with the Mavina set. And that's why I'm using Whiz and Draw, which when you find it, it's a longbow, can be found in normal difficulty. It gives this minus 32 to enemy cold resistance. And I will say that's kind of getting the job done right now, just using cold or ice arrow and freezing arrow. I did upgrade it into a Crusader bow. You can kind of look up how to upgrade rare items and unique items. So I went from a longbow to the exceptional version, and then I upgraded the exceptional version into the elite version, the Crusader bow. I forget which runes you need for that, but honestly, it still only does 25 to 108. And I specifically only upgraded it just to kind of help with my mana stolen per hit and my life stolen per hit. Yeah, I have a little bit of life stolen per hit. Just for a little bit of extra mana and life leech. But as far as the gear goes, the bow, not super hard to find. You can find it in normal difficulty. The boots, I'm wearing Silkweave for 5 mana after each kill. You can find those in Nightmare. Razor Tail, Sharkskin Belt, you can find that in Nightmare. Kira's Guardian, possibly a little bit tricky to find or trade for, whatever. I will say that this is typically not a highly used helmet or headpiece for the most part, but it does give you massive all resistances and cannot be frozen, which is kind of nice. And if we have cannot be frozen on the headpiece, we don't need a Raven Frost. So I just got 2 rare rings on here for more mana after each kill. All resistance is mana steal. And lightning resistance, 1 mana after each kill, more mana steal. Nothing super crazy on the rings. And the Eye of the Eldritch, you can find that in normal difficulty. What some players might not know, depending on your experience, is that it adds cold damage and it has a hidden cold length modifier, which has some kind of range on it. I think the maximum is like 15 seconds. I do have another one in my stash with 6% lifesteal. I'm not sure which one has the higher hidden cold length. But what I will say is, if you don't know already, freezing arrow, it says it freezes for 4 seconds. And that's only because I put 20 points into ice arrow. Otherwise, it would freeze for 2 seconds. And in Nightmare, freeze length is cut in half. In Hell difficulty, freeze length is cut by 75%. And also, monsters with high cold resistance also reduce freeze length. So yeah, we got the maximum freezes for 4 seconds. And fun fact, cold length adds to freeze length. So I'm not sure how many seconds we're getting off this, but it is cut by 75%. The bow does not actually have cold damage. I know I have some random charms. Nothing too crazy. I didn't transfer anything too crazy over except this Geeds and the Torch and the Sunder Charm and the Analyst. But I got just resist life, cold resist, cold damage. Which every cold damage small charm will add 1 second to your freeze length, not counting the 75% reduction. There's another cold damage charm, another cold damage charm, cold resistance life, fire resistance, 19 life cold resist 7, another cold damage charm, poison resistance, cold resistance, cold resistance, fire resistance, and cold damage, and 14 life. So if for whatever reason you don't have, a torch or an Annie, you can make up for it a little bit by maybe putting some more resistances on your charms. My gloves are just 2 to bow and crossbow with 30 cold resistance, which is kind of nice since my cold resistance is decreased by 79% because of the cold resistance grand charm. Yeah, so the Kira's Guardian with the Rune definitely helps with resistances. What else? I think I pretty much hit everything except the weapon swap and the armor. So yeah, I'm actually using Hysteria because it just makes me run really fast. has all resistances 10, gives 40% increased attack speed to go along with my 20% on my bow, so I attack decently fast. A little bit of hit recovery, and a +6 to evade, which since I'm an Amazon, and that +6 to evade works for any character class, it's actually capped at +3 since it's a native skill. So if you look at my skill tree, got base 20 into all these with a +7, putting everything at 27. Nothing into the javelin. And yeah, just throw everything into passives. Got 12 into Valkyrie, 4 into evade since I'm getting that extra +3 bonus, 8 into avoid, 7 into dodge, only 1 into critical strike, only 1 into penetrate. I put 2 into pierce, and my belt also gives me 33% pierce, so we're at like 96% pierce. I'm not going to be super OCD about having 100% pierce, because later I might be able to add skill levels. And 1 point into decoy, 1 point into slow missiles, and 1 point into inner sight. The mercenary, I made a lawbringer for the decrepify aura to slow monsters, make them take additional physical damage and stuff, and also with a nice sanctuary aura if you want to kind of look up what that does. There's also lifesteal. The damage on it's not that great, and kind of any other sword will do, I guess. I just got a decent high damage, increased attack speed one with cold damage. Threw an Alm rune in there for more lifesteal. I guess the cool thing about this one is that it freezes the monsters and has cold absorb. And just little Tarasha's death mask you can find in Nightmare. And then an armor that I made into a treachery with a limb rune, which is one of the best budget mercenary armors you can have, body armors you can have. 45% increased attack speed. Chance when being struck to cast level 15 fade. And also has venom and cold resistance. Right now my mercenary without fade is at 70 resistances except for cold because of the resistances on the mask. And my mercenary is level 87. I'm also level 87. All my resistances are capped except for cold resistance. And I guess the only other thing I need to point out before I show my weapon swap is the damage on freezing arrow. Looks like it's about 1500 to 1600. And the character window is actually 1575 to 1622 from charms and stuff. Yeah, so my weapon swap. I just decided to make this bow. I do have a Grand Matron bow, but that's not super necessary unless you're fighting with the weapon. I'm really not. But basically I just did this for the +3 to Valkyrie and the Vigor aura. I can swap to it to run even faster with my Hysteria armor. And if anybody's in my party, they get to run fast. Mercenary runs fast, Valkyrie runs fast, and it's just a good pre-buff to cast Valkyrie with. Alright, so let's just see what the Terrazan situation is. Let's see. Canyon of the Magi, Talrash's Tomb, Talrash's Chamber. That's a good one. But it's 9:58. My clock's not exactly right. I think that one's about to end. So let's just go there real quick, I guess. I will say the drop rate on the new Sunder Charms is pretty low. You have to kill heralds to get them, and making a herald appear can actually be kind of troublesome. You basically just have to kill lots of elite monsters. But freezing arrow, with all of my buffs, actually freezes for quite some time. I can freeze lock a lot of the monsters that aren't champions and elites. And my mercenary in a one-player game kind of gets the job done. Real good character for crowd control. You just freeze the monsters. Not too difficult. My mana kind of Requires lots of mana potions since my mana steel's not great. But small clusters of enemies are super good to target with Freezing Arrow because I just get mana after each kill off of them. Pick up these mana potions. And another healing potion. There's a jewel. Yeah, it takes a few hits, but like I said, you can just freeze stuff. And the mercenary has Decrepify, helps you kill stuff. Not super crazy. Pretty effective in a one-player game. Maybe even a multiplayer game while you're just freezing everything. Oh, I got a Ire of... I drew the Ire of a Herald. Maybe I should keep playing until the Herald appears. That was actually pretty quick getting that message. Not too shabby. I think the one time I played for like 2 hours and didn't get the message. But that was pretty quick on getting that message. Stygian Pike, one socket. Yeah, we don't really need to do a whole lot of gameplay, but maybe I'll just try to find the Herald, or maybe I'll just chop the video in half or something if I don't find the Herald. The Terror Zone's probably going to switch soon too. I will say that my favorite feature in Reign of the Warlock is the fact that I can just keep all rejuvenation potions in my stash that are extra. So, you know, I'm always going to have rejuvenation potions on my belt, typically, because I'm just going to find more than I can use at one time. And, you know, having just basically as many rejuvenation potions as you need, I mean, just makes surviving a lot easier. I think we got a few minutes left on the Terror Zone. Maybe the Herald will appear in here. Yeah, but look, I shot the Gorebelly. Let's see how long he stays frozen. That was a pretty long time he was frozen for, even in hell mode. Those guys might even naturally be immune to cold and have increased freeze length reduction. And Sanctuary Aura kind of helps with the mercenary killing those little ghost guys. I found this character pretty effective at killing heralds because, you know, I can just freeze all the other monsters basically, and then it's just the herald basically damaging me. I will go back and pick up this blue monarch. See if it's not a J-mod. Never found one. Nope. Alright, shows signs of slowing. I think we got 3 minutes. I think that's the way the new system works for those messages. Yeah, those Gorebellies just stay frozen. Oh, maybe I was missing that one. Might not have super high kill speed. But you know, just freezing stuff is fun. Running really fast with my nice little Hysteria armor is fun. There's some fanaticism. Am I scared of that? No. Maybe the guy that I can't freeze. Oh, my mercenary might be fighting that. Oh, let's go over here and freeze that guy. Valkyrie's good on its own, her own, whatever. That guy, yeah, that's the problematic guy right there. See if okay, so I'm actually just kind of randomly shooting. But I will say lining up the monsters for freezing arrows is typically the best strategy. See if we can line those up. Nope. He dead. Probably line those up. There we go. See, that guy's a large enemy. He's not going to get close enough to the other ones to get frozen. But he is decrepified. Oh, no, he's getting frozen. Kind of taking a bit. I think those guys are immune to cold without the Sunder Charm. which means they just take a lot less cold damage. But I am dealing enough cold damage that they do die. No heralds so far. Well, we got like a minute left. See if we can spawn the herald. One minute left. Just freeze everything. Mostly want to protect the mercenary because, you know, that Valkyrie's probably gonna be pretty effective on her own. She gets all the little passive buffs from all my dodge and evade skills. Well, that's a lot of gore bellies, and we seem to be doing pretty good. Not sure what's happening, but they're still terrorized. Yeah, it takes a long time, takes lots of hits. But it gets the job done. And, you know, obviously you can upgrade your gear, add more damage, maybe get some skill charms. Maybe one of those new unique jewels from the ancients to put in your gear. That'd be kind of cool. Don't have one of those yet. But if I get a cold one, definitely put it on this character. Oh, I'm holy freezed. Looks like I'm still holy freezed. All right. Yep, that's about it for this area. All right, so how fast did I level at level 87 in that terror zone? Pretty decent, but I don't think I'm going to get to the next level. Maybe just pop in this next terror zone and see if we can use that basically Herald charge that we got. That's what happens. You get the, you draw the ire of a Herald, which is kind of like a charge or a token, which means that now you have a chance for the Herald to appear. But yeah, the rates on both of those things are really low. And then when you kill the Herald, the rate on, you know, the charm, the Sunder Charm actually dropping is also very low. Let's just play for a little bit longer, but I think you get the idea. We got a torch and stuff, but the gear's not super crazy. And we just have a really long freeze duration. Super easy enemies, carvers. I think they're also normally immune to cold. Yeah. I don't know what we got to do to get this Herald to spawn. I guess if the video ends abruptly, I just kind of gave up. But yeah, this is Marky Mark. And we're just going to keep playing, I guess, so I'll find the Herald. But maybe once the video gets to a certain length, I'll just kind of cut it. But yeah, you know, I've already cleared all the quests, so at this point we're just kind of killing stuff, trying to find Heralds. All these guys are extra fast. Don't know what I'm going to call the video. I mean, I don't know how budget this character is with an OG Sunder Charm, a Torch, and an Annie. I think those are kind of the highlights of what might be hard to get. I'd say semi-budget, maybe. So maybe that Sunder Charm. I know you're going to get one of those. Oh, the Herald. All right, we got a good video, guys and gals. All right, so where is the Herald? Good question. Let's resummon the Valkyrie. Herald's around here somewhere. Should be pretty easy to spot. I think they'll get some kind of orange. All the monsters will get some kind of orange aura thing around their feet. Now we're running low on mana potions. Well, we got another row of mana potions. I think we'll be alright. It's just a level 1 Herald. I guess every time you find a Herald in the same game, the level goes up on the Herald. Let's see if we can find some potions. No. No. Alright, so the Herald should be somewhere within the vicinity. Oh, heard something. There's a concentration arm. Maybe that's where we want to go. There's Thresh Socket. And my Valkyrie's dead again. I mean, at least we're in a big open field. Things can't get too crazy. Okay, maybe they can. Yeah, I'm getting meleeed. Luckily, my 4 Juvies saved me. Potion situation's getting kind of bad. And my mercenaries, is that my mercenary running around over there? Oh, I think that might be the Herald. I don't know what's going on. There it is, Herald of Fright. Alright, let's go over here. Ow! Did I just get a 1 life? Did I almost get one-shotted? Alright, I guess I failed because I didn't freeze that guy. I think that might have said 1 life. I might have to go back and watch the video and see what that said. That's kind of crazy. Concentration Hellspawn just randomly almost one-shotted me. I do only have 1,293 life, but I am solo. Oh, my Merc died. I think we need to get the heck out of here. Yeah, Thresh Socket was kind of running around there too. Alright, let's just do this the right way. Let's go. Revive the Merc, fill up on potions. So fun fact, I didn't really have this much trouble with Heralds before. Maybe that, oh yeah, I do have amplified damage on me. That's probably didn't help. I don't know if I had amplified damage when that monster almost one-shotted me. Kind of not paying too much attention. But yeah, like, oops. Yeah, there was definitely a concentration aura. And maybe I had amplified damage on when I got hit. I don't know. Like I said, I only had like not even a 1,300 life. And I guess the fact that Thresh Socket was there didn't help. Hopefully I don't lose connection. That's kind of a thing that could happen. I do want to kill this Herald. Maybe I'll have a really sweet video and get the Sunder Charm drop. That'd be kind of awesome. But based on the drop rates, it's probably not going to happen. Ooh, what was that? There's a mana shrine if I need it. Where'd these guys go? There's the Herald. I wonder if we'll just fight the Herald solo. We can at least slow him if we can't freeze him. We're amplified damaged. My mercenary seems to be doing alright. Just intersight him for shits and giggles. Oh, there's a decoy. I don't know if I need that. Yeah, the Decrepify, the chill effect. fighting him solo definitely helps. And yeah, no Sunder Charm. Sad panda. I guess we'll kill the rest of the minions and then call it a day. Yeah, but I think you get the idea. Just kind of freeze everything. We'll kill Thrush Socket too already. He has a holy freeze aura. Which I'm still... Nope, I'm not saying it now. Man. I guess if we're in a party, hopefully the other players do more damage. And we'll just freeze everything, I guess? I don't know. Alright, but I guess that's pretty much the end of the video. Did not get lucky on that Herald, but we got super lucky on how fast that Herald spawned. I will say that. I guess that's a heck of a video based on how fast I found a Herald. But yeah, that's the video. Not really sure if I need to shoot another video with this character. We saw some, what I'm going to refer to as semi-budget gear for this character. Alright, thanks for watching. This was Marky Mark.